Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be modelling and texturing a knife and a chopping board in Blender 2.8. I will leave all the images and textures I use in the description. There will only be image texturing for the chopping board, the knife will be with Blender. So you can do this with either the Evee or the Cycles engine. You may even be able to do this with the Radiant Pro Render engine. But I'm going to start off in Evee because it's good for previews. So to start, do Shift A, Image, Reference or Background, and then add in the image. Then Shift A, Mesh Cube, RY to rotate it along the Y axis. R and RY. Then scale it down. Align it like so. Rotate it a bit more like so. And just get it to be aligned with there. There we go. So make sure transparency is enabled, which is this, and then make sure you're also in orthographic. I may have said this, which is numpad 5 and then numpad 1. If you do not have a numpad, go into your preferences and go to input and change it to emulate numpad. Okay, let's get in. So press tab to go to edit mode, B to box select. And I'm going to just select this, G, Shift Y, and then move it over to here. Next, I will grab both of these, extrude outwards. I'm not going to make this perfect. And then G, Shift Y, I'll do it like this. Add a loop cut with Control and R. B, G, Shift Y, align it like so. G, Shift Y. There we go. That'll do. Actually, what I shall do, yeah, that'll do for now. We can come back to fix that later, but first we should do the blade. So next, select your vertices, extrude, G, Shift Y, S, Shift Y to scale it in a bit to match it. Like that. And then E, and I'm going to enable proportional editing, change it to linear. As you can see, I have a screen axis enabled, so I'll just move this in, Shift Y, just so that it moves that vertex along with it too. So I press O, select these, E, S, Shift Y to align it like so. Anyway, so I'm just going to undo this quickly until I get back down to here. Like this. S, Shift Y to scale this down. E, S, Shift Y. There you go. We're fixing any errors later on. There we go. Okay, and now we have the knife blade. So what I'm going to do now, before anything else, actually wait, what we'll do first, never mind, is I'm going to loop cut here, and I'm going to G and Shift Y, and then just move this down so like that. Okay, next I'm going to go to the material tab. I have the polygon material converter plugin, but you know, it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to select the knife, we're going to do assign, press new, and then just make sure it's assigned. Okay, you'll see why later. Next, we're going to go down to the handle, grab these vertices here, extrude them out, S, Shift Y, E, S, Shift Y, like so, G, Shift Y. Doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. The reason that we're doing S and then Shift Y is it does it along that axis so that nothing's a weird shape. Because if we do S, you can see if we did that, then it would be like that. And we don't want that. Because then if I was to do this, you can then see it scaled up along there as well. Anyway, so G, Shift Y. This G and Shift Y thing I'm not 100% sure is necessary, but I'm just going to do it anyway. E, G, Shift Y to move that to there. S and Shift Y. So it's like this. There you go. E, S, Shift Y. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move this vertex out. Like that. There you go. And as you can see, knife complete. And it doesn't look too bad. So now I'm going to re-enable this, go back into edit mode, and I'm going to select the knife handle, as you'll see why later. And then I'm going to just make a new material, assign it, new, and then now if we were to subdivide this, it would be a pain to edit the mesh. So what you can do is you can, or say we wanted just to select the handle because we're editing that, we can literally do A, deselect, or this and then select, or this and select, and it will select the handle or the blade without us having to select everything awkwardly. Okay, so now I'm going to fix some of the issues, and you don't have to do this, but I'm just gonna make it look a little bit neater, like so. Yeah, yeah, that'll do. One last thing I will do, however, is add a loop cut here and then slightly extend that out and slightly move that down. There we go. Easy peasy. Where's my OK? Here we go. Okay. So now I'm going to go down to the hand. Select. So I'm going to select here. G. Or select this actually. G Shift Y. Move it down. Actually, grab. I'll make a loop cut here and then G and Shift Y. Do that. And then here, G Shift Y. Like so. Doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, I'll leave the highlights. It's fine. Okay, there you go. It doesn't have to be exactly along the image. It just has to be about the same, like, straightness and stuff. So slight error there. I'll just move that in a teensy bit. And then disable proportional editing. And now you can see we have a decently nice looking knife. Okay. So now I'm going to select the blade and start making the material. So to do that, we're going to go to the top right here and move this out. Go to shader editor, and then we should have a principled BDSF shader here. What we're going to do is we're not going to even. You can add in a noise texture if you wanted to, which is just shift A texture, and then noise texture, and then you do vector normal map and plug this into here and the noise texture into the normal map. But all we're going to do is we're going to change the specular to 1, and sorry, the metallic to 1, leave the specular how it is, the roughness to about 0.3, the sheen tint to 0.5 still, make sure that's on 0.5, and then the clear coat roughness on 0.03. And then after that, what we'll do is we're going to change this from can't pronounce it, Kristen's Burley to Random Walk, and I'm going to change GGX to Multiscatter GGX, like so. And now that's that done. So if we go into rendered view, I'm just going to add in a light G like this, and then move it. You can see. Wait, can you see? Kind of hard to see. One sec. There you go. You can see how there is a blade, and we have a nice-ish looking metal color. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into Numpad 1, select to make sure everything on the knife is selected, and press S and then Y. But before I do that, I'm going to let's go back to solid view, add in a loop cut here, like so, reselect the, after deselecting everything with A, reselect the knife and then scale it down till it's about there, I'm going to say, and I'll probably scale down the handle a little bit. And now if I was to go out of edit mode, go into rendered, point this like that, you can see how that is a relatively, oh wait, first though, what you do is you can increase the brightness on that, and you could also increase the roughness if you wanted to like about 0.4, which looks kind of nice, like that. And then you can see we have a decent looking metal texture. This is Evee though, so it won't look as good as Cycles, or, well, depending. But you can see how there is a relatively nice sort of metal looking texture really easily. Like so. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the handle. Oops. Going to move on to the handle now. So to do this, we're going to select here, press tab, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it would make sure everything is deselected. I'm going to select this. Sorry if I spoke too fast. And then I'm going to scale this in just a tiny bit, like that. Easy way to see is, yeah, that's about right. Okay, so now what I shall do is I will, actually what you can do is you can go into wireframe view and you can sort of see around about, but you know, depending on your image. Anyway, so with this, with the knife, the handles material selected, I'm going to change the base color to black or grey, depending. The metallic 0, the specular can stay on 0.5, and then I'm going to put the specular tint on about 0.8 or 0.9. The roughness to 0.7, and the sheen tint can stay on 0.5. Next, I'm going to do Shift A, texture, noise texture, Shift A, vector, normal map, and I'm going to plug this into here, and then plug this into here. It will lag a bit. I'm going to change the scale of it to about 0.1, 0.2 maybe, usually about right. The detail can stay on 2, and then the normal strength can stay on 1. And then next I shall just see what this looks like. Okay, so that looks okay. Looks like plastic. That's a bit weird there. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Appears. Oh wait, hang on. Must just be the lighting or something. Anyway, so as you can see now, we have a decent looking sort of plasticky texture. You see it doesn't have too much specular on it, or too much roughness, because if I increase the rough, you can decrease or increase the roughness for reflections. It will, keep in mind, it will look different in Cycles than it does in Evee, but this is fine for now. So next I'm going to go back into front view. I'm actually going to just maybe change this, the maybe change the specular tint a bit, or the roughness. No, I think that's fine actually. can increase the specular for reflections. Plastic usually has a little bit of reflection on it, so I'll put it on 0.4. And you can see how, I don't know, can you actually? You can see how if I was to increase this like normal thing, actually I'm going to put this about on 0.1 like that. There you go. It basically just adds in like little finger marks. It's kind of hard to see. There you go. If I was to do this now, you can see it adds little bits. I might increase the detail like that. There you go. That looks better. Now you can see we have these little tiny marks where it's grid, so it looks a bit more realistic. Okay, so now I'm going to do this. Going to solid view, front auto, and I'm going to select everything, go to the modifiers tab, and I'm going to subdivide it. I'm going to have my render subdivision set to 4. As you can see, that is very smooth. And I'm going to just put my viewport on 2. Now I'm going to tighten it up with loop cuts. So Control and R, and I'm going to make it kind of smooth. I'm going to put it on like that. Handle I'm going to make a bit smoother. I'll work on the blade for now. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it around about, very sharp actually. Because it's a knife, it should be sharp. But I'm going to make it about very slight smoothness, like this. And then on the handle I shall loop cut, and that might actually be fine if I just tighten up this bit here a bit, like this. There you go, that looks nice. Actually, I'm going to just very quickly do this and this. Another thing you can do is if you just want it to be completely tight, you can just press Shift and E to add creases, as you can see, which is what I'm going to do. Like that, there you go. Now you can see this is a relatively nice looking knife with a nice point. You can always make the point sharp if you want. So if I was to add the subdivisions up to 4, it will probably lag, but you can see how it's very, very smooth. Okay, so now I'm going to go, and that'll do actually. Relatively nice looking knife. So now we're going to move on to the chopping board. I'm actually going to just disable the subdivision for now whilst they make the chopping board, because it will probably lag a bit. So lastly, actually, I'm going to very quickly one second. Very quickly do this, and maybe not that, but this. I'm pressing Alt and Shift to select, or Alt click to select for a loop selection. I'm gonna just do about 0.4, like that. There you go. That looks nice. Now I'm gonna disable the subdivision and move on to the chopping board. Okay, this is in the description, by the way, the link to this image. So I'm going to just do click on it and do Shift S and then cursor to select it. So, and then Shift A, Mesh Cube, Transparency enabled, and then Edit Mode. First, however, I'm going to scale it down on the Y-axis whilst holding Control to 0.2 or 0.1. I'm going to have mine on 0.1. I'm going to then scale it along the Z-axis so that it's the same size, like so. Press Tab, make sure I'm in front of orthographic mode, and then I'm going to add a loop cut into the middle. I'm then going to proceed to delete this side, and I'm going to now do this. It's very simple to make these. E, S, Shift Y again, E, S, Shift Y, E, S, Shift Y, and again you can get your own image for this if you want to. There you go. And now you can see this have this nice looking curve. So now I'm going to go back into solid view with transparency, and I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to press A and A to select everything. Go to mesh and do symmetrize. And if it's not symmetrizing on the right axis, click on here and change it to these until it works. Which is why I added the loop cut into the middle, so I could delete everything. And if you find that it isn't quite as far as you want it, you can simply just do this, like so. Next, I'm going to, and then I'm going to now subdivide it quickly. We will be making this. In fact, we may as well do that now. Okay, everyone, so now, once we have done the breadboard, we're going to add in this little thing here. So we're going to do, so with this set is Shift A and cube, scale, G, scale, G, and then just like this, like so, G, Shift Y, E, also sorry for the cut, I had to do something, so like this, that's Shift and Y, E, S, Shift and Y, S, Shift Y to scale this up, and then E, S, Shift Y. Again, you actually, no, I've said that already. I was going to say that you can use your own image, but I've said that already. Anyway, so delete vertices, and I'm going to symmetrize this along the Z positive to Z minus. And what I need to do first is actually undo that delete, add this here, delete vertices, then I can select this and do mesh symmetrize, like so, and I'll scale it up a tad, and maybe, yeah, that's fine actually. Or maybe we'll, actually what I'll do before I symmetrize it, is I'm going to make this a bit neater, turn on proportional editing, like this, to make it all look a little bit nicer. Oops, I might have Gene X like this. There we go. Okay, that'll do. And then I'm going to select all this and do mesh symmetrize. Scale it up. And there you go. Now what I'll do is I'm going to press face and do intersect boolean and change it to difference. And now you should, there you go, you can see that. So before I do that, however, I'm going to very quickly move this backwards by GY so that it peeks out of the back like that. So I'm going to actually have to scale it along the y-axis a bit, like that, and then just so that it comes out the other side. G and Y. There we go. I'll just go tintsy bit more. There you go. I'll do. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to do face and intersect boolean. You can now see we have this little nice thing here. And that is so much easier than adding in a boolean modifier. Another thing that you can do, however, is I believe you can do mesh face intersect knife, and then you have these vertices here. So you can also do merge, I think, but obviously you're probably going to be using cut. And then as you can see, you have these own vertices. But for this tutorial, I'm going to be using the boolean, and it's just a lot quicker than using the boolean modifier. And there you go. Now we have the breadboard. So now that this is like that, we're going to texture it. So add this, and then go to shader editor. I'm going to add this in, and now I'm going to be using image textures for this. So I'll leave these in the description again. So yeah. If you have the polygon converter, this is a texture from polygon.com, no advertising. So if you have the polygon converter, you can just use that. But I'm going to show people have to do this anyway in case you're using a different texture or you just don't have the polygon converter because you're in an older version. Okay, so now I've loaded in my materials. So they will be coming in either reflection. Reflection is otherwise known as specular. So it'll either be coming in a reflection with name if you're using mine, but if you're not, then it'll probably be called specular. That's also the case if you use Crazy Bump, or like most software actually calls it specular, but you know. Anyway, then there is the normal, which is NRM usually. I'm using a 16-bit one. There's color, which is almost always a COL, and then there is the gloss, which is also known as roughness. Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to do color here, and I'm just going to plug this directly into the base color. Next, I'm going to grab the normal, Shift A, vector normal map, plug this into here, and this into here. It may lag a bit. There you go. And then with the gloss, which is otherwise roughness, I'm going to do color, invert, and then a converter, math, and change this to. Okay, so now I'm going to do Shift A and then converter, math, change this to multiply, and then I'm going to plug this into the top value and this into the roughness. Oh no, sorry, I need to do it the other way. No, sorry. And then plug this into the color, and then afterwards plug it into roughness. The reason we have invert is to control the amount, and obviously multiply is also just another way of controlling it. Okay, next, I'm going to copy this, paste it, move this to here, plug this into reflection, or reflection into this, and then this into specular. So after you have done that, I'm going to put this on 0.5, because that's about right, and as well as this. And the difference, let me just show you the difference on preview. So this is, this is full gloss, or rather this is full gloss on 0.0, I believe, because it's an inverted, yeah. And then this is no reflection, full reflection, because it's inverted, so you change it either way. So this is like no gloss, full gloss, basically. We want it on 0.5. Yeah, and that's that. So next I'm going to go numpad 1, numpad 5, tab, and I'm going to enable transparency and be really lazy with the UV unwrapping by just projecting this from view bounds, and then I shall do Control 7 or Control numpad 7 and disable transparency, and just select these bottom vertices here. Actually deselect everything else like that, and then Control 7. I'm going to do U, project from view bounds, like that, and then that's it. You can also do a vector mapping and a input texture coordinate. Plug this into here, plug this into here, this into here, this into here, and then finally this into them. Oh, is that everything? Oh, and then this into here, sorry. Like so. You can increase or decrease the strength of the normal map. But yeah, the top of the preview isn't actually what it looks like. And then if I go to rendered, you can see how we have a nice wooden texture. Like so. It's maybe a little bit too glossy, but some wood is actually quite glossy. Anyway, or reflection. So now we have our knife and our chopping board. So now I'm going to do X, rotate it 90 degrees, put this on the top of it, and the knife, from images that I've seen, the knife should be actually, I'm going to undo the copy. I'm just wondering why there's like a little glitch there. seems to be slightly more inwards. Oh, who knows. Okay. So the knife should be about the same size from point to handle as the chopping board is from one corner to the other corner. So I'm going to scale this down, not that much. So 285. Yeah, and then scale it up so that it's sort of like, yeah, this is about the right size, maybe a tiny bit bigger. This, and then that's literally that. So go into camera, make sure it's locked to view, enable your position, like so. I'm now going to enable the cycle. Actually, you can do it. I'll just show you what it looks like here with the sunlight. I'm also going to just quickly rotate this so that it's like this. I also need to disable screen space reflect, or rather change the trace position or the max roughness on here down to about 0.3, and the trace position, or which one is it that is glitching? There you go. I won't allow that one rendered, I hope. Anyway, so with that like that, not sure why the image is vibrating slightly, but you know, whatever. So there you go. And then I'm gonna just G and X move this like so to give it a nice shadow. Actually, I'm gonna quickly make sure that it is on the floor. You could also have it sort of, I think the blade actually needs to be a little bit smaller, or thinner rather. So S and Z needs to be like very, very thin. That's better. And then like so. I also think there's a tiny bit too much gloss on here. So that should, wait, hang on, that's in, wait, what? So that's like non, that's full, isn't it? Wait, what's going on? So non-full? I am confused. Who knows? So I'm gonna maybe decrease this to like 0.1. That's better. Wood, this type of wood usually does actually shine like that from my experience. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I shall render it using the Cycles engine. Probably want, actually what I'll do is I'm gonna up the lighting to about 5. That's usually about enough. Yeah, it's probably a little bit too much actually. That's better. Maybe 4. There you go. And do that, but that's better. And maybe I shall leave it like that. I like that. So that would be the Evee. Now cycles. I'll change it to cycles. I'm going to be using GPU compute. Also, don't forget to make sure subdivide is enabled. If I just go to rendered, you will see we have this like, and also I need to hide this, and I'll probably increase the lighting that this gives off to about that. Re-enable the subdivision. Ooh, that's a bit weird. Oh, I know why. It's because I'm in. Yeah, it's. If I change this to adaptive, it'll probably work. Oh, sorry, my blender just kind of glitched a bit there. So what I'm quickly going to do, I am still in the Evee engine, Cycles engine, sorry. And I'm going to just, it seems to be this, it's glitched. So I'm going to change this to about 0.1. This. Viewport levels 4. And then I will go to rendered. There you go, that fixed it, and we have this nice looking scene. Doesn't look too bad. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, as it would mean a lot, as I'm trying to start this channel. So any support is appreciated. The next video will probably be on how to model either probably be chess pieces and a chessboard. So if you're looking forward to that, please like and subscribe. In fact, it might already be out by the time you're watching this. So I shall just leave this to render for 500 samples and then come back and you can see the finished product. Okay, it's now been rendering, and as you can see, pretty nice looking scene. So, goodbye everyone, and I shall see you in the next video.